Cade Parker Cunningham's story begins long before draft night lights, sneaker deals, or national debate shows ever spoke his name. It starts quietly, in gyms where echoes mattered more than applause, where the sound of a ball hitting hardwood carried further than any crowd reaction ever could. In those spaces, basketball was never framed as an escape or a shortcut. It was framed as a responsibility, a craft, something that demanded respect before it offered anything in return. Born into a family that understood the game from the inside, Cade was introduced to basketball without illusion or fantasy attached to it. His father, who had lived the realities of professional basketball, never painted the NBA as a guaranteed destination. He never spoke of destiny. Instead, he spoke of discipline, humility, and patience. From the very beginning, Cade learned that ability could open doors, but character decided how long you stayed inside. As a child growing up in Arlington, Texas, Cade didn't look like the type of player who would dominate headlines. He wasn't the fastest kid on the floor, and he wasn't interested in pretending to be. He didn't rely on speed to separate himself, and he didn't chase attention with reckless plays. What stood out instead was how he processed the game. While others reacted to what was happening, Cade anticipated what was coming. While others chased the ball, Cade studied space. He watched how defenders leaned, how teammates moved without the ball, how possessions unfolded before they were finished. He listened more than he spoke, and when he did speak, it was measured and intentional. Coaches noticed that he didn't panic under pressure, even when mistakes piled up, even when games slipped away. That calmness became a defining trait, one that followed him through every stage of his basketball journey. In his early years, Cade learned to value control over chaos. He didn't force shots to prove confidence. He didn't rush decisions to prove aggression. He trusted that the game would reveal itself if he stayed patient long enough. That approach wasn't always celebrated. Youth basketball often rewards volume, flash, and dominance. Cade chose restraint. He chose efficiency. He chose understanding. And slowly, those choices began to separate him. By the time he reached Bowie High School, Cade's game had matured rapidly, but never loudly. He didn't overwhelm opponents with explosive athleticism or jaw-dropping highlights. He controlled games through decision-making. He understood tempo, angles, and timing in ways that felt unnatural for his age. He knew when to speed the game up and when to slow it down. He knew when to assert himself and when to let the game come to him. He could score when needed, but he never forced it. He made teammates better without demanding credit. He didn't dominate conversations, he dominated possessions. As college programs began tracking him closely, Cade stayed grounded. He understood that attention was fleeting and development was permanent. Rankings changed. Narratives shifted. Praise came and went. Cade remained focused on refinement. He worked on footwork. He worked on balance. He worked on reading defenses rather than overpowering them. He wasn't building a highlight reel. He was building a foundation. The move to Montverde Academy marked a turning point. Surrounded by elite talent, Cade entered an environment where reputations were tested daily. Many highly ranked players arrived at Montverde only to shrink under pressure. Talent alone wasn't enough. Effort was expected. Accountability was non-negotiable. Cade didn't shrink. He adapted. He embraced competition and absorbed lessons from both success and failure. His leadership didn't come from speeches or gestures. It came from consistency. Teammates trusted him because they knew what they'd get every day. Coaches relied on him because he understood accountability. Montverde's success wasn't just about winning titles. It was about preparing players for what came next. Cade emerged not just as a top prospect, but as a professional in mindset. At Montverde, Cade learned how to operate within structure without losing individuality. He learned how to sacrifice touches for winning. He learned how to guard multiple positions. He learned how to lead without dominating. Those lessons would become essential later, when responsibility multiplied and margin for error disappeared. When it came time to choose a college, Cade made a decision that reflected who he was. He chose Oklahoma State, not because it offered the easiest path, but because it offered meaning. The program faced uncertainty, scrutiny, and instability. Cade leaned into it instead of running from it. When eligibility issues delayed his debut, he didn't lash out. He didn't complain publicly. He waited. And when he finally stepped onto the floor, he played with a quiet edge, as if every possession mattered more than the noise surrounding him. His freshman season was a test of endurance. Cade carried a heavy offensive load, faced constant defensive pressure, and still found ways to elevate his team. Defenses loaded up early. Traps came hard. Physicality followed him everywhere. Cade responded not with frustration, but with control. He played through mistakes. He took responsibility in losses. He never hid from the moment. The numbers told one story, but the film told another. Cade wasn't just producing. He was learning how to lead under real pressure. Late in games, when chaos usually takes over, Cade slowed everything down. He trusted reads. He trusted spacing. He trusted preparation. That ability to remain composed under pressure became one of his defining traits. By the end of the season, the debate wasn't whether he belonged in the NBA, but whether anyone else belonged ahead of him. Draft night confirmed what many already believed. Cade Cunningham was selected first overall by the Detroit Pistons, a franchise searching for direction, identity, and hope. The weight of that moment was enormous, but Cade didn't wear it like a crown. He wore it like an obligation. Detroit wasn't an easy landing spot. The roster was young. The losses were frequent. Patience was thin. Cade entered the league without illusions. He knew the transition would be difficult, and he accepted that challenge without complaint. His rookie season reflected reality. There were nights of brilliance, where Cade looked completely in control, manipulating defenses and hitting tough shots with confidence. There were also nights where the game moved faster than expected, where mistakes piled up, and where frustration was unavoidable. Through it all, Cade never lost his composure. He adjusted. He learned. He continued to play the right way. Even when the scoreboard didn't reflect progress, his growth was evident. Injuries soon became a frustrating obstacle. Time away from the court tested Cade in ways he hadn't faced before. Rehabilitation demanded patience without reward. It stripped away routine and replaced it with uncertainty. For a player whose game relied on rhythm and feel, the interruption was cruel. But Cade didn't disconnect from the game. He studied film. He refined his body. He deepened his understanding of leadership. When he returned, he wasn't louder or flashier. He was sharper. As Detroit continued to rebuild, criticism followed. Some questioned Cade's ceiling. Others wondered whether his style could truly anchor a winning team in a league obsessed with speed and explosion. Cade didn't respond publicly. On the court, he continued to do the small things that winning eventually requires. Making the extra pass, defending multiple positions, staying composed in late-game moments. He understood that true leadership often goes unnoticed until results catch up. What separates Cade Cunningham from many of his peers isn't just skill. It's perspective. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't play for highlights. He plays for control, for impact, for growth. He understands that basketball careers aren't defined by early chapters alone. They're shaped by resilience, adaptation, and the willingness to keep building when progress feels invisible. Cade Cunningham's story is still unfolding. There is no final verdict yet, no neat conclusion. But what's clear is this: he has never relied on shortcuts. He has never asked for patience publicly, but his game quietly demands it. In a league obsessed with instant stars, Cade represents something rarer. A foundation player, built for longevity, built for leadership, built for moments that matter. Cade Cunningham was never meant to arrive loudly. His game doesn't shout. It speaks. It speaks through patience, through understanding, through the belief that greatness is built slowly and tested deeply. His journey hasn't been perfect, and it hasn't been easy, but it's been honest. And in a league that rewards flash, Cade Cunningham continues to choose substance. The wins will come. The moments will arrive. And when they do, it won't feel sudden. It will feel earned.